Welcome to Scary Stories, the channel that tells you scary stories.
Welcome to Scary Stories NYC. I'm your old pal Bigfoot. Got a little blog with news updates about cryptids and so on and so forth today. And in this episode, we're going to have Dogman, the musical, YETI or Not, Bigfoot Band's new album, and the 12 best werewolf movies of all time decided by someone else we don't even know. Let's start off with the Dogman the musical story, even though I know if I were smart, I would save that to the end just to try and keep you watching. But I know that's why you're tuning in, and I don't want to disappoint you by saving it to the end because it actually has nothing to do with the monster Dogman or the cryptid Dogman. Here we go. TheaterWorks USA releases tickets for Dogman the musical to the general public. It's Dav Pilkey's Dogman. That's a little kid's book, and it's going to be playing at the Lucille Lortel Theater at 151 Christopher Street here in Manhattan. Tickets will be available. Well, they're available already, and you can Google about that. It's running from the end of June through the beginning of August, so basically through July. If you're going to be in New York and you have kids, might be something you might want to take them to, so I figured I'd mention it too. This is kind of interesting, though, because I used to be partners with this voice guy. We used to write cartoons together and so forth. And he has read a number of the Dav Pilkey books. Like if you buy the book on tape, it's my ex-partner John reading the book. And it's kind of funny because like he's read Dogman and I read Dogman, and it's just a bizarre thing that I don't think either of us would have predicted back when we were working together in the 90s, I guess that was. Yeah, 90s. Brain is a wonderful thing. Yes, brain says 90s. So that's when I was working with John. He's read a number of the Dav Pilkey Dogman books. Gotten good reviews. I read his reviews of them. So, yeah, you might already know. You might have already heard those if you have kids or if you are a kid yourself. Let's move to the second story. YETI or Not. Apparently, the Indian Army has said that it cited YETI footprints and put it on its Twitter. Here's the Twitter post here. For the first time, an Indian Army mountaineering expedition team has cited, misspelled also, mysterious footprints of the mythical beast YETI, measuring 32 by 15 inches, close to blah, 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 blah. And then here they spell cited right. The elusive snowman has only been cited at Makalu Baron National Park in the past. Now, they got ridiculed for this by people on Twitter because basically what else do people on Twitter do except act superior and put everyone else down? So they got attacked for this just because it was YETI, so automatically it must be funny. Then, let's see what happened next. The Nepalese army said, nope, those are not YETI tracks. But specifically what they said was not exactly that. It's being reported that the Nepalese army is dismissing, officer dismisses Indian Army's YETI claim. This is from the Economic Times of the India Times. However, if we scroll down and actually look at where's the actual quote from the guy? Okay. Director General of the Department of Wildlife and National Parks, Man Bahadur Khadka in Nepal, has dismissed the Indian Army claim, quote, according to our experts, that's always a red flag right there. According to our experts, it may be the footprint of a bear found in the Himalayas. He was quoted as saying, by the Canterbury Daily. Now, wait a second. Here this sentence says, he's dismissed the Indian Army claim, and then the actual quote says, according to our experts, it may be the footprint of a bear. So he doesn't know what it is. When you say that, what he's saying is, our experts don't really know for sure what it is. That's what I get out of that information, right? Out of that sentence. So he's not really dismissing the claim that it's anything. He's saying, we think it's this, but nobody really knows. Now, I think if you look at the photo, if you can see it, if you're watching on a phone, I apologize, it's kind of small. But if you look at the photo, these tracks across here, they could very well be from a bear because bears are known to walk in their own footprints, and so it can come out sometimes looking like the heel of one of the feet comes in the back and the claws come up in the front, and it can look an awful lot like a very large human footprint. But and it's harder to tell in the snow because you can't see if the claws are in the front or not as well in the snow. But there are ways now that we can tell pretty much for sure what a footprint is, especially a footprint in fresh snow, is by testing the DNA inside the water. They can test the DNA of an entire lake now just by taking a little sample of the water. And I think that would be this would be a good place for people to go if they want to find footprints like this to test out. And then we can know for sure maybe it really is a bear, and maybe it's a Yeti if Yetis are real, or maybe it's some third thing that we're not even thinking of. So there was one show where they actually did that. They went where they found footprints that looked like Yeti footprints, and they tested them. They were not bear. They were not Yeti. They were kind of a goat that walks in its own feet, and then the footprints looked larger because of that. So it's definitely worth checking out. Maybe the Indian and Nepalese army should carry little test tubes around with them or whatever to scoop up some of the snow, and they can, when they get back to civilization, they can have it checked out. And then we'll know for sure. Then we won't have to say it may be this and it may be that. And we won't have to make fun of people for saying, oh, it may be this other thing. I mean, why make fun of anyone if you don't actually know the answer? That's a sad product of our times, is that people get made fun of by people who are even more ignorant than the person who's making the first statement that's getting made fun of. And not that ignorant is a bad thing, but if you're ignorant and you're acting superior, that's a bad thing. So anyway, let's go to the next story, which is Bigfoot Band. Now, this is news to me. I don't know if it's going to be news to you, because this band has actually been around for 2 years, since 2017. But I've been kind of out of it. So I'm culturally, I've been writing Dogman stories. So I didn't know that this band existed, and here's an article in the Waukegan County Eagle in the Pacific Northwest. And the band is called Giants in the Trees, which means Sasquatch. It means Bigfoot. They have a song called Sasquatch, and there's a video for it here on YouTube. You can look it up. And if you listen to the song, one of the lines of the song called Sasquatch is Giants in the Trees. So they are named after Bigfoot. And that's interesting in and of itself, I thought, for you guys. But an even more interesting thing about them is that their accordion player is the former bass player of Nirvana, Chris Novoselic. That's right. He formed this band with local musicians, and there's a female singer, and they actually sound good. I listened to some of their songs, and they're a good band. So, I highly recommend, if you're into Bigfoot or if you're into rock music, check them out. In this article, is about a benefit. They have a new album coming out, and they had an album release party and benefit. And the benefit was to raise money for someone named Moon Mertz, who has multiple sclerosis. You can still donate to help Moon by sending donations through PayPal at rosecreekretreat@gmail.com. Let's see. This is their second album, it says here. Chris Novoselic, surprising sound with his accordion. And Christopher, here's the interesting part. Grange Master Chris Novoselic is the one to contact about Grange activities, meetings, or rental of the Grange. And you can call him at 360-465-2268. What is a Grange? What does that even mean? I don't know I'm from the Northeast. So Chris is the Grange Master. I'm sorry. It just sounds funny. It's at Grays River Grange number 124. What is that? What is a Grange? I don't know. And but if you want to rent it, if you know what a Grange is, and you want to rent a Grange, you can rent a Grange from former member of Nirvana just by calling that number, 360-465-2268. They're working to do good things for people, so let's support them. Now, the final story of the day: the 12 greatest werewolf movies of all time, according to this website, whose name I probably better not even try to say. I'll probably get in trouble for it. Now let's see how many you agree with and how many you disagree with, if any of these are new to you. And let's see if they've left any off the list in your opinion. They start off with number 12 from 2010 is The Wolfman, starring Benicio del Toro. I have that recorded on DVR and have not watched it yet, so don't tell me anything about it. The second one, Late Phases. I have never heard of this before, but look at that Dogman. It looks kind of cool. The legs are a little, it's kind of got Bigfoot feet, not Dogman feet. But the top part really looks a lot like Dogman. It looks like it could be pretty cool. And this actress's reaction over here, this looks like a pretty scary movie. I actually really want to see this, judging by just this one photo. In the review, they say, I don't want to tell you too much because it's kind of spoilery, but in the review, they say that the Dogman does not look that good in their opinion. Certainly in this shot, it really does. So I'm curious about that one. Then number 10, Wolf, the Jack Nicholson werewolf movie. I don't know if you've seen that one. Number 9, Silver Bullet, the Gary Busey werewolf movie. I have seen that one. It was okay. It was pretty good. It has good parts. Number 8, Wolf Cop. I have never heard of this, but it says it's Canadian and schlocky. Yeah. And then there's Bad Moon. Have never heard of that, but it does look good. Let's see. Oh, this movie stars the family dog. It's the family dog realizes that someone is a werewolf, and the family doesn't believe him. So I guess it's a kids movie. But from this shot, it doesn't really look like a kids movie. It looks pretty scary. Then there's Dog Soldiers. I'm going to speed past that just because of the graphics, but that's a very good movie. Can't argue with the inclusion of that one. The Company of Wolves. I liked this when I saw it, but I don't remember anything about it at all because it was kind of dreamlike. It is about dog-headed people, but I'm not sure if it exactly belongs in. Well, I guess it does. It is a werewolf movie. It's very strange, very different from all the rest of the movies on this list. And then there's Ginger Snaps. I have not seen that. Don't know anything about it. I'm just moving past it because of the graphics. Then there's The Howling, which I don't think anyone would argue with including in this list. Number 2, The Wolfman. You might have expected that to be number 1 because it is the first the first werewolf movie by Universal was The Werewolf of London, but this was the first real hit. And the makeup in it was actually supposed to be the makeup used for The Werewolf of London, but the actor Henry Hull refused to wear that much makeup. He wanted to be seen better, so he redesigned the makeup himself, and he was able to overrule the makeup man, Jack Pierce. Now, Jack Pierce, by the time The Wolfman came out in 1941, by the time this was being made, he had much more power and creative control because he had designed the Frankenstein monster. And so Lon Chaney had to go with the design that was put on him. He had to sit in the chair for hours and hours every day, and this is the classic design that everyone remembers, at least us old people. So now, what do you think they made number 1? Like, what's not on this list yet? There's they didn't have the Wolfen, did they? Wolfen. They had The Howling, but not Wolfen. They didn't have Teen Wolf. They didn't have The Werewolf of London. So those are 3 pretty major ones. What else have they not included? What do you think number 1 is? I'll give you a few more seconds to think about it. If you want to think more, pause it now because I'm about to go down and reveal what this website says is the number 1 werewolf movie of all time. You ready? Here we go. An American Werewolf in London. Hard to argue with that because it really changed the score, it changed the game on so many different levels, both werewolf movies, monster movies, comedy movies. It was a comedy and a horror. It was genuinely scary. I had a friend back then who was terrified of this movie and ran out of the theater crying. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but it's true. And he, to get over his fear when it came out on VHS, he watched the whole movie in slow motion, frame by frame, to show himself this is just a movie. That's how terrified he was of this movie. And yet, it's a really funny film at the same time. So yeah, I admire this film a lot. This is really well made. I think it's hard to argue that this belongs up near the top of the list. So what do you think? What films would you have included that aren't included? What films would you have left off that are? What would you have changed in the order? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And I'll be back in the morning with an all-new Dogman story or 2. I'm not really sure. I'm going to finish the first one, see how long it is. I might do the second one. I have 5 new stories that are part written that I have to finish up. And so we'll get 1 or 2 on in the morning. And then something else I was supposed to tell you about. I can't remember. Oh, and we have a big special coming up at the end of the week. Because some people, when we did that poll recently, it came out pretty even between people liking 20-minute episodes, hour-long episodes, and 2-hour-long episodes. So I'm going to make an effort to try and mix it up and try to do at least 1 hour or 2 hour long episode a week, without killing myself. It's a little hard to get all this stuff out because, our channel isn't just, well, I shouldn't say just. Our channel is not one of the channels that does a story and then just puts it online with one visual. We do, once I finish writing and recording a story, that's just the beginning of the production effort for me. I don't know. Maybe I should switch formats. Hey, there's an idea. I was not going to talk about this because it just popped into my head and I may as well put it out there. What if, I'm not really 100% sure this is kosher with YouTube, but, they just changed my related channels and I was looking at the channels and 2 of them they're more like radio station channels where they do the story, they put the audio there and they just put up one visual. I had thought you weren't allowed to do that anymore, but they're doing it and they're getting a lot of views. Like this one guy, who I hadn't seen his channel before, he's getting like 12K views on his videos, and I wish I could ask someone at YouTube, is this really kosher? Because maybe what I should do is switch to doing that so that I could put out more episodes for you guys of just stories. And then that would also give me more time where I could use Bigfoot and Henry Lee Dogman and stuff like that to do more creative things with them, do shorter videos, with them acting out stories or being more involved, like more fully animated cartoons, not just always talking heads. What would you guys think about that? I mean, would that be something that would make you happy? Also, do you have any idea how I could find out if YouTube would be kosher with that? I mean, how do you get in touch with them and ask them? And then would one person be able to answer that question? It might be something that might be constantly in flux. Do you know what I mean? Like they might tell me it's okay, and then a week later, there's an internal decision that it's not okay anymore. And instead of telling us that it's not okay, they just start, taking us down, like they've been doing to Bigfoot channels, which is just really sad. So what do you guys think about that? What if I did something like that, did longer form stories that I didn't have to necessarily fully animate? Because once I finish recording an hour, say, let's just pick an hour to explain it, then to animate it, I have to take that audio, bring it into the animation program, or I can record directly into the animation program too, but it doesn't actually really save that much time because I've been experimenting. And then I have to animate it in real time, which is a great improvement over past animation. I mean, to do it in real time. Then once that's done, so now I've spent twice as much time as a person who's just taking the audio and setting it to visuals. They've already rendered their show. Their show's ready to go. Like I'm still stuck in that beginning phases of my preparation. So then after I act it out and we record the animation, then I have to render the animation as PNG files, PNG files, and then I have to bring that into my video editing program, lay the PNG files, which have a clear background, over my background video or static images, whatever I'm using. And I have to re-render that with the audio and any effects or titles or whatever also. That, for my machines, my computers, they have to, I have to do it in parts, like pick 3 minute or 5 minute, depending how difficult the animation, how much stuff is moving in the foreground or background. If I have 2 levels of animation, like when Bigfoot is talking to Dogman, that takes a lot longer. So so then I'm say it's an hour that I've got, I then spend another hour animating, then I've spent another 2 hours waiting for that to render. Then I bring it into the video editing program, and the hour-long show is going to take about 3 or 4 more hours because I have to render it in parts and lay it over. Not 100% sure about that. I never really timed it out, but I have to render it again and then render the whole thing again, if that makes any sense. So that's like another 4 or 5. It can be longer if the computer crashes. So then I'm spending 5, 6 more hours after the audio is already done and it could be set to render. Do you know what I mean? So if I did it the way I see other people doing it, then I could save a lot of time and I could spend that 4 or 5 hours left over to start a short cartoon or to do something else. Maybe one of these blogs, I could do something with my brain character. I could do a funny video. You know what I mean? I could spend extra time, or I could start working on videos for my cartoon band, which I haven't been able to because it's been taking up so much time here. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Sorry to get so long-winded, but if people who are actually, the very few of you who are actually into what I do, I think you would want, I think you've been waiting for me to explain that for a while. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that idea? Is that a crazy idea for me to stop doing the animation? Maybe I could just have Bigfoot introduced at the beginning and then just run a visual, like one picture for each story kind of thing. And if it's my own picture, maybe that's cool. Maybe that's because I don't want to do something that's duplication, what YouTube calls duplication, but I don't really know what that means. So I don't know what the parameters are, what it's cool and what is not cool to do. If you guys know or know anybody at YouTube or like can help me out in any way, or even just give me your own opinion, if it's something you would like to see, let me know, because I could really use that information. That kind of feedback helps an awful lot. And it's maybe something to think about, but I don't want to do it if it's going to get my channel in trouble. But like I said, I see other people doing it, and YouTube is saying these are related channels to me, and they seem to be doing really well. So, I don't know. What do you think? And I'll be back tomorrow morning with a Dogman story that will be animated, because I'm too chicken to jump into it until I've slept on it for a few days. But yeah, we'll be back in the morning with at least one new Dogman story. And coming up this Wednesday, we have a secret Dogman story, which is uncensored, and it's called, I don't have the title in front of me. It's called something like Dogman Ate My Father's Head. I'm laughing, but it's a really gruesome story, and it's something I could absolutely never, ever run on this channel. The guy claims it's a true story, but I don't know. This one is so wild, but it's a good story. And so if you're a paid subscriber at peterbernard.com, you can hear that one. It should come out Wednesday or Thursday as soon as I can get it out. Okay, see you guys in the morning with another scary Dogman story. Bye.
Get your Bigfoot for President t-shirts, mugs, buttons. Get them now. cafepress.com/Bigfoot for President.
If you enjoyed this, please click like or consider subscribing. Remember to click the bell icon or you won't get notifications. If you want to listen to Bigfoot's secret uncensored story each Sunday, just go to peterbernard.com and become a paid subscriber. See you tomorrow. Same dog time, same dog channel.
Come back for more scary stories.